on the unceded traditional homelands of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. Many other tribes, such as the Miami, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Sauk, and Fox, also called this area home. The region has long been a center for indigenous people to gather, trade, and maintain kinship ties. Today, one of the largest urban American Indian communities in the United States resides in Chicago, continuing to contribute to the vitality of this city and to celebrate their heritage, practice traditions, and care for the land and waterways. We invite you to explore the unceded homelands on which you find yourself if you are on the live stream at home, as well as to take this moment to honor all who came before us, the indigenous peoples displaced by colonization, as well as those who built this country through uncompensated and compulsory labor, those enslaved and those oppressed. We honor those who came before and all those who continue to live on this land as we hold this shared space for art and expression. So, Blue Hour is a project of the Chicago Poetry Center. At the Chicago Poetry Center, sorry, this is like low even for me, so I'm gonna make it a little taller. Oh, that's nice. That's good. That was awkward. Unaccustomed as a short person to having to make things taller. We believe that poetry illuminates our individual and shared humanity, fueling thriving lives and healthy communities. Our mission is to connect people and poetry, equitably engage poets with communities, and foster creative literacy in the city and beyond. We envision and work to create a fair and verdant world rooted in artistic expression, human connection, and boundless imagination. There's lots of information about the Chicago Poetry Center on the back table, including free resources for 2nd to 5th grade educators, our in-school programs, Queensy's Poetic Adventures, as well as critical conversations, anti-racism at the back table there. Upcoming notes, our series for the rest of the year is awesome. November 15th, we have Jason Bayani and Jacob Sines. January, then we take a break in December, but I will say we have a very exciting offering in December. On Sunday, December 17th from 1 to 3, Stevie Edwards, who's an amazing writer and editor, is going to do a Getting Published workshop right here. So if you're interested in exploring, learning more about how to get your work published in journals, magazines, things like that, definitely sign up for it. Tickets are already going. So then we come back in January and we'll have Teresa Zieglowitz and C. Russell Price. In February, S. Yarberry and Dan Sully Sullivan. Check out the website for all the details on those. Okay, those are my announcements. Let's do this open mic. So, everybody, I'm gonna pull 5 names at random from here. Each poet will read 1 poem or 3 minutes, whichever comes first. So no Viking epics, please. Or you could excerpt your Viking epic if you want to. All right. And we also want to encourage us all to self-care. Poems generate feelings. And sometimes feelings generate the need to leave the room. So if you need to stand up and move to the back or take a step out, use the restroom, whatever, please feel free to do so. Just do so respectfully. All right. Who's up first? We have Amari. Welcome, Amari. That's when it happens.
Okay, hey everybody, my name is Amari. I'm actually a poet in residence here at the Chicago Poetry Center. This poem is called Lack. Here's a secret, here's a secret, here's a secret. Lack has made a home out of you. Lack of self, lack of worth, lack of love. And it is that same devoid love, the love unseen, unfelt, unknown, and unheld, which circles your feet back to loveless lands that you swore had your name on them. And even in your most loving moments, you still tread through that familiar lack, not yet full, not full at all. And so you crane your neck and you strain your eyes, always on the hunt for somewhere to lay this lack. Hoping that once it's all laid down, there'll be more room for you inside of you. And so you discard of all the things except for those that hide the lack from your view. And it was that same lack that had you lifting your head from the loins of the lonely just for the both of you to cosplay lackluster love, and you full of breadcrumbs and the other leaving them just for you. And so you fixate on almost loves and you grip them until your knuckles turn white, sticky red blood dancing down your palms to the rhythm of your tears. And you'll never leave this dance floor because you know better than anyone that this is as good as life can get. And this is what you've always known love to be. Thank you.
That the Chicago Poetry Center's poets in residence are not only incredible teaching artists, but incredible poets. And I love it when it's proven. It's proven. I also want to point out that there are 3 sad little open chairs here in the front. So if anybody would like to sit in them, please come and do so. It's very fun. I'm always threatening to just put an extra row and then take them away, but I feel like that's mean. I feel like it's mean, and I wouldn't like it if somebody did it to me. So, all right, Mickey Norton. Mickey Norton.
Also, was not expecting that. Because I'm just here with my class. We came to an open mic, so. So this is called Move On. Nearly a decade I lived in that house, its creaking floors and occasional mouse. My mother would stand in her bedroom and weep. I'd stand in the hallway, unable to sleep. Her sobs and her sniffs could pierce the wall, wake me from dreams, take me into the hall and down to her room to crack open the door. Wait till she settled to lay on the floor, and keep her company until the dawn came and awoke us and make us move on. On from that house that I lived in so long, torn down and destroyed, another built wrong in its place, where I slept, where I ate, where I labored over homework until late. The landlord came and he told us to pack. He was kicking us out and we wouldn't be back. He wanted to build a house for his daughter. My mother started crying, so I came and brought her some tissues and the box so she could go cry. I shut the door on the landlord without a goodbye. We had to leave that quaint little place, its strangely large rooms with far too much space. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a living room 2, a kitchen and 2 chimneys, one with a bad flue. My childhood home, my only safe haven, gone in a moment, taken by that craven who kicked out a lone mother for his own fantasies and destroyed a decade's worth of good memories. It's fine, I'm okay. I moved on from that time. The patio was always filled with grime, but it was home for a while, and now it's gone. So I weep with my mother, and then we move on.
Awesome. Thank you, Mickey. I'm so happy to have this class full of students here, and I hope you come back. We're here the 3rd Wednesday of every month. All right, let's see. Who's next? Solman. Thank you for putting the presentation together. We got a fan from all the way around, so you got to keep applauding to the end.
Hello? Okay, my name is Salman. I came with the class. Another one in a row. Yes, the class is Contemporary Poetry, DePaul University. So I'll be reading a poem. Let me pull this up. Okay. It's called Buried Treasure. Mark on our maps the location we are seeking towards, the jackpot that awaits us only. Stumbling upon it is like being the first in the climax of the race, like landing on the moon, able to touch the possible rare and the unknown. Oh yes, we indeed are looking for the treasure. Wait, what even is this treasure going to be? Most likely, it's a heap of junk. And so, it was. Children, I was guided by greed to accomplish a goal that I had no details of. We were led astray, and our eyes only looked towards the X.
All right, 2 more open micers. Will they be students from the class? Only the universe knows. Let's see. Taya Lockwood. Taya.
Hello. If you can't tell from my accent, I'm visiting from Australia. So I apologise if I say any words you don't know, or I may not, probably. I am visiting here for a couple of weeks, so I feel very blessed to be up here and being able to share just a quick poem. It's reasonably new, so it's a work in progress, but it's called A Walk. Excuse me. Walking becomes hiking when the weight is this heavy, the hill this high. I repacked my bag before I left. Raincoat, spare socks, 2 water bottles. What did I forget? Why is it still so heavy? My shoes are new but comfortable. The muddy trail makes the path unclear. I've gotten lost on every hike I've done. I take my morning walk. The dried mud still clings to the sides of my shoes, leaving a quiet trail as it flakes off. It's now dragging on the ground. My shoulders are too high to pick it up. There are scratches. Soon, a hole. Why is it still so heavy? Thank you.
Why is it still so heavy? Feels like the refrain of this decade or something. Awesome, I'm so excited to have international visitors. Come on.
I came just for this.
Who are we? Yes, exactly. She came all the way from Australia for the hour. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that as the truth. All right, last open micer, Alston Tyre. Alston.
Hi there, thank you so much. This is incredible. Let me just pull this up real quick. Sorry, oh goodness, if I can find it. Okie dokie. So this poem is called Gray Swan Falling from a Great Height. I first would be called beautiful, then lauded for my birdsong trill. In place of money, I would myself be tithed, my voice a penance christened, a gray swan held in the hands of a far-off Almighty. Light would stream through stained glass waves, face to false east, and in the gut of the air I would wonder if the light that leached to poison our groundwater was the God everyone hanged themselves in faith on, like my rest uneasy on thin wire. My halo split in the hands of a force I wished so desperately to feel. I fanned my goodwill, but something unnamed threw my sense of self to the crested fish on waves my fractured visage helped create. The hands of the gathering storm, the ones I once acknowledged but brushed aside as doubtful, congregated to the clouds of lead I walked one cautious footfall away from, then another, and another still. But how could I think being careful would help me outrun the inevitable? This unlikely dissolution against odds came to pass. But I rejected blatant parable. If I were to be a bird, a symbol peacekeeper as they wanted me to be, I'd shun the dove. keeping in mind the fate of the pigeons once they fulfilled their ordained use. Instead, I'd grow to gray swan, the grim symbol of improbability. I'd have no olive branch, for I hadn't yet reached land. I'd carry in my slender beak the shards of my own scattered crown, scooped up before I could land on shallow ground, in solid water. Not falling, not flying, the transitive second when neither I nor the sky knew. Was the storm my salvager? Having decided that I, unique among creatures, should have wings attached to the place on my body where wings ought to go? Or was the storm removing what once was innate, not damning me outright to fall, but leaving my last recourse a tightrope headed straight down, splitting the world in half, and me with it? Thank you.
We have two featured readers tonight, as is our way. I'm going to lower this a little bit. No. Ooh. Okay, there we go. Great. So it's always exciting to have, one of the things that is really exciting about having a pair of poets is for me to think about their work sort of in connection to each other. And I was thinking about that today. So our two features for tonight, as you probably know, are Kenyatta Rogers and Marcy Rae Henry. Two really exquisite poets, and one of the things that I was thinking about in terms of their work is that I feel like with both of them, and this might be hard to hear because I was thinking about their poems on the page, but it'll probably come across sonically as well, but is that what is not said, what is left out of their poems is in many ways as significant as what is in the poem. And in that way, I think we're oftentimes, when I'm reading their poems, my brain kind of gets to go in the crevices, right? Gets to decide how to fill in those blanks, or how to dwell in those blanks, and then what happens when you sit there. So I'm super excited to introduce these two poets to you. We're going to hear from, let's go with Kenyatta first and Marcy Rae second. I will admit I did not make a decision till right now. That's all right. That's how these things go. What did I say? Kenyatta's first. All right. Kenyatta is a Cave Common Fellow and has been awarded scholarships from the Breadloaf Writers Conference. He has also been nominated multiple times for both Pushcart and Best of the Net prizes. His work has been previously published in Poetry Magazine, Jubilat, Vinyl, Bat City Review, The Volta, Pank, and Make Magazine, among others. Kenyatta is a lead teacher for the Poetry Foundation's Teacher Institute and Chautauqua Institution's Young Writer Institute. He's a co-host of the Sunday Reading Series with Simone Munch. Sunday Reading Series is great. If you haven't been going, go. Kick things over in the back, whatever feels right to you in this moment. Make all your noise now while I'm talking. And is the creative writing department head at the Chicago High School for the Arts. Please give a big round of applause for Kenyatta.
I'm going to read a few poems and I'm going to end with an essay, which is kind of finished. So we'll see what it takes us to. Since it's almost Halloween, I'll start with something Halloween. Nightmare. You wake up in a bathroom with Carrie Elwes. Your son Astral projects every night. He ends up in a model city riding shotgun with Michael Keaton. Somewhere, another you took the blue pill, and Zool tells the xenomorphs to choose their destroyer. You wake up in a dream and see Johnny Depp asleep in an armchair. The stairs are made of marshmallows. Ash's chainsaw breaks. Donald Pleasant stands on a street corner trying to get cell phone reception. You wake up and you're back at Camp Crystal Lake, and Jack Skellington keeps singing, and he just keeps singing, and he won't stop, and he just keeps singing. Kind of this partially. I like to think I grew up very spiritual, not necessarily really religious, even though I grew up around a lot of religious people. I didn't necessarily go to church every week, but I always had an influence on me. So, I'm going to read some poems that have some spirituality. On the seventh day, let there be newspapers and car wash specials, the beginning of Best Buy sales, mattress liquidations, the factory rebates, no Chick-fil-A or mail service, but football games and 10% off dinner specials, telephone calls to mom, complaints about work tomorrow, spike in airline tickets home, and hangovers. Yes, there will be hangovers. Trips to PetSmart for dog baths, exercising and boating and regrets. Yes, there will be lots of regrets. And laughter and dinners and drives to nowhere with no goal. Let there be sleeping in till noon and cats sunbathing in a window and fishing trips where no one catches any fish or has any bait and just sits in silence. I grew up in front of television a lot, and so I think Jim Henson's a genius. And I think one of the saddest, and also Sherry, from Lamb Chops play apparently. But if you ever go YouTube this, there's like a Jim Henson funeral, Big Bird sings, it's so lonely being green, it's like the most depressing thing ever. Anyways, there's references to Jim Henson and Sherry Lewis and somebody else, I forget names. Lamb Chop. I think about Sherry often, and Fred and Jim, and maybe there's a bit too strange and a bit too much. I just ate lamb for what I'm sure is the first time in my life. I watched a man shear a sheep and thought it looked cruel. Like April, seasons never changed, or at least not that I ever remember, not that it ever mattered. If Pokey and Charlie Horse ever met, would they be friends? Not that it matters, they aren't real. They aren't really alive. People tell children Santa Claus is the spirit of Christmas to explain how a man hundreds of years old can still be alive. A man who eats cookies. My mother's diabetic. She's still alive. One day she won't be. Maybe I'll call her today and tell her I ate lamb. Maybe these things are trivial. Maybe Hush Puppy never was born, so he can't die. I talk to things all the time that aren't there. Got some time. Read a variety of poems that I didn't know what I was going to read until like an hour and a half ago. Speaking of like doing things in the moment. So, salt water. Oh, know this, like if a polar bear and a grizzly bear have sex and they have another bear, it's called a roller. It really exists. Or it's called a pizzly. It depends on the sex of the bear, if it's a boy or a girl. Did you know that? It's weird. Anyways. Salt water. If a crocodile and an alligator have sex, will they breed another animal? Like a liger, or a mule, or a growler? What's the difference between jam and preserves? The spout of a beast still eats that of another. Somewhere under the water, another man is killed by a stingray. Someplace, someone is wondering, What will happen to us as a meteor throws dust up into the sky? All right, another maybe like 3 or 4 poems in my memory. Something might be broken here. Something might be broken here. Not like the beam that holds up an outer wall, or the vein that tells your heart to beat red and to love blue. How lonely is it being a grain of sand, being crushed by other grains of sand, being sandwiched by what and who you are? I wish I thought of that on my own. Last night while drinking, I told my friend about every bit of my heart, and we both knew what type of anomaly that was. Will I die on my way home by accident, or will it be reported as my fault? Did I leave the toilet seat up for the cat? Should I reach out to someone when I get home? I'm a cyclist, and my seat needs to be adjusted. My brakes could use a little tightening. Okay, 2 more poems. I'm getting old, so my back hurts by leaning into the. I can just pull it closer.
There you
Stand hurts. So it's about getting older. It just gets better with age. Time is on the side of the loving. A decade just keeps building a box around 2 hearts to try and contain that which doesn't need to be sheltered. It's raining outside, and it will rain again. When traveling around the sun holding hands in a slingshot, neither one of us is getting sent out into nothing alone. One more poem that I'm going to read part of the essay here. There's a reference to William Carlos Williams in here. This is just to say I've eaten the plums you left in the icebox. You're probably saving them for lunch. I don't know how the whole thing goes, but something like that. Art therapy. This isn't to say you can't create art and be happy. This isn't to say the above stanza is easy to understand. This isn't to say the plums I ate were even in the icebox. Everything that's been created has something to say. I'm going to end on a short essay here. This isn't finished, and I haven't really worked on this in like a month or 2. Speaking of spirituality, speaking of being seen, this is called God complex. Oh, let me backtrack this too. I'm going out of town. I'm on the board of AWP, right? If any of you ever heard of that people. So I'm going out of town tomorrow for like one of the board meetings. But this past AWP was in Philadelphia, and I left there feeling very acknowledged. And so I wrote this kind of feeling seen, I guess. So, God complex. This past week was something almost indescribable, but I'm going to try and describe it. The buttons read, I heart AWP, but something more than that was there. Last year, the conference was in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, and we tried our best. Everyone did. We had a lot of uncertainty and confusion, and in some ways felt like we were reaching for straws in the dark, hoping they were still there. This year, though, love. Throbbing. Love was beating in the rhythm of the feet on the sidewalks and up and down escalators. On the sidewalk, Hadara says, this feels like back, like we're back. I wonder how many people cried this past week, if the tears of joy are still salty. I felt them bubbling in my belly on Thursday, but maybe cast them off too early. On the airplane, I wept. Whatever you can imagine love would feel like, it felt like that. For children, it's the magic trick at 7 years old. The drop of the first hill of a roller coaster. Duriel Harris won the George Garrett Award for Outstanding Community Service in Literature and preached to us about gratitude. And being humble and gracious might be a thing. Conference and community boasts begin with the letter C, as does something else close to my heart, Kabekano, CC. My sister used to have a calico cat she named Calico Cat. She called her CC. The love of a headbutt, the nestle in your shoulders of a friend. Gabby ran across the room and hugged me. Daryl was like a guardian angel, always present with arms open. Tayemba had the OG stroll, pointing and acknowledging every single time because he knows, as we all should, that it's important to be seen. I see you. I know you're there. I know you don't have to be, but you are, and it's important to know you're not forgotten. Sometimes that's all it takes. Seeing joy on the escalator. Being in a place that's overrun by clouds that almost seem like they needed to incubate us. Prep us and get us ready for when we return to our lives. To be ready to continue the work of love, the Lord's work. Whatever that looks like to you, whether it's the sun or God or some God or just yourself, why do we decide to write, tell stories, feel the need to let others in? Even now as I write this, that's the question, why? And I think the answer is the same as it was when I was 10 years old, because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what always pulls me back. Just when I thought I was out, it pulls me back in. Over Thanksgiving, someone asked me if I was still a writer, and I said without a question, I don't know anymore. Hell of a thing to feel an impulse with. I don't know anymore if it matters, but it's undeniable that it does matter. My life matters. Roger said, let's celebrate this man is alive. It's good to be alive, to know that somebody cares, to know that you're seen. I spent so many days in quarantine by myself, with myself, and not having a finger on a pulse, not caring if I felt my own pulse. But you know what? I had a calico cat. Nothing I was experiencing needed to be placed on this cat. So I got up every day, I fed the cat, I watered the cat, the butt and the nuzzle up against the crook of my neck, that type of love. Unquestionable in a world where there's so many questions. It's amazing how the brain works. Nandi and Erica stayed until the party ended. I like to think, to be sure, I was okay. We take care of each other that way. That's some type of Midwestern type of shit. We don't need to say anything to one another. Family knows, and sometimes we don't need to make a scene. Sometimes we just need to say a lot of nothing. Jesus Christ, aren't we all gods? I've been making the world I'm living in for so long and refuse to believe it. The company you keep is real. My neighbor across the street told me, there's angels around you all the time, you just don't know it. I had to have been maybe 7. I like to think we were in the school library looking at gold spine books. I always thought angels were invisible until her. She came from a man of God, a family of a religion different than mine, and she's made me think of all the joy and luck and random people who appear and disappear seemingly like magic. There's still some of these people in my life now. I would never tell them I know what they really are, the type of magic they possess. Parts of me fears they wouldn't want to be outed. On an airplane, a lady sits next to me who wasn't supposed to sit there. She was turned around, fumbling with a bag, couldn't read her ticket, and sat next to me, mistaking the empty seat for hers. I didn't care to tell her any different because what did it matter to me? She proceeds to talk to me, and I never want to talk to anybody on planes. I tell her I was upstate to teach for a week-long writing retreat for high schoolers, that a friend of mine called me out to be a part of a new program. I said yes because what else would I say? She says, I didn't go out there because someone asked me, but because I was pulled there. She told me she was there doing a lecture on Biggie, and I suppose she could read the doubt on my face. So she opened up her shirt, and sure enough, there was a Biggie wearing a crown. The woman told me she was a chaplain at a college somewhere. I didn't understand why she was there to talk about hip hop. I kept thinking she was jabbing at me, trying to get me to talk, and eventually she did. She gave me a card, got off the plane and left. And that was it. I put it away and never looked for it because I'm too afraid I'll find it. I'm afraid to admit that moment was real. I sometimes am surprised people are excited when I say I'll be at their thing or we'll meet them somewhere. I like to go to a bar called the Easy Inn. They play music on weekends. This one time the DJ put on Before I Let You Go by Frankie Beverly and Mays. I used to hate the song when I was younger. My father would play it on record repeatedly. It drove me insane. So much so, I tried to get anywhere when possible. In the late 30s, though, I can't get enough of it. I never realized how close it grounds me to home, how much those annoying memories are now cherished and I hope to never lose. I cry when I go home now. Things are so different. I can see folks for their flaws, can see my folks for their flaws, but notice that when they look at me, they see something that I never have. I go home at Christmas every year, and to them, it's like an angel appears. I never felt that maybe I'm one of the angels I keep noticing. That the random people on the street who say, I look kind, or trust me to watch their stuff while they go to the bathroom at the airport, are looking at me and seeing the thing I see all the time. Some type of God, some type of goodness. Dare I use the word angel? When does this become hubris? Thank you.
To introduce to you Marcy Rae Henry. Marcy Rae Henry is BIPOC, LGBT, a lover of OMD, and suffers from PTSD. You understand why I was stumbling over those letters there. She is a multidisciplinary artista de Mexicana Americana. Her writing has received a Chicago Community Arts Assistance Grant, an Illinois Arts Council Fellowship, a Pushcart Prize nomination, and first prize in Suburbia's 2021 novel excerpt contest writing, and her visual art appears in Columbia Review, Bathhouse Journal, Pank, the Southern Review, the William and Mary Review, and the Worcester Review, among others. I should say the Worcester Review, right? I'm so funny. Double Concept recently published her chapbook, We Are Primary Colors. M.R. Henry is an associate editor for Rhino and a digital minimalist with no social media accounts. Ooh, don't try to find her on the internet. All right, please welcome out in person, live, Marcy Rae Henry.
Hola. Muy buenas noches. Thanks for being here. Can you hear me? Yeah. Thanks for having me. I have my glasses just in case. I have to trumpet a lot. So. Menopause is no fun. When to go to the Taj Mahal. When light clears the radiator, winter's creeping in. Time to move the succulent away from the heat. 8 feet below Earth's surface, the temperature stays constant, no matter the season. I stood in front of someone hoping, like a painting or a denuded tree, she would reveal herself. Bury me standing, starts the Roma proverb. I've been on my knees all my life. The Roma left India centuries before Shah Jahan planned another Taj for his bones in black, so he and his beloved could behold each other architecturally. His son ruined his plans, forced the Shah to spend his final days crouching. Today the Taj doubles in a reflective pool, protective of plots. The Shah, who stopped listening to music for 2 years after his second wife died. A lover in India gave me a key that left the scent of metal on my fingers. We drove to the Red Fort on his motorcycle. It was the first time he asked. I preferred the Himalayan village, the thick smell of smoke masking samsara. Monsoon season, the time to rest before poppies bloom. A stuck window, an echo on the phone, doubling the sadness. More light enters and it is easier to see. All across northern India, I was told, only go to the Taj Mahal with your one true love. Jewel encrusted and heroic, the Taj Mahal is still a mausoleum. The absence of space between us. In ways, his corridor is indistinguishable from Delhi's other broken sidewalk corridors. Kites billow from rooftops, children's hands cupped for coins, men shushing, charas for sale. The sun hangs as if a lantern on a line. Sky births sky, depletes its colors, but heat just keeps on going. His plants sit on the balcony. The balcony is bigger than the flat. Shadows tour the walls, our room a zoetrope, an absence of space between us. Lights below flicker and fade. We're out of candles, out of moon. On the balcony, a spout and a bucket. Water, not potable, but cool. Our skin dark and sticky as opium. Below, sounds of generators, smells of kerosene. Still damp, we feel our way downstairs. We pass stands of sweaty vegetables, pyramids of oranges haloed by gas lamps. A walla selling oily fritters burns thick coils of dupe. Smoke wafts past us, picked up by the breeze. We hear him before we see him, an elephant walking mindfully down the street. We see his trunk between two tusks, a divot like a long dimple down the face. Someone painted white around his eyes, worry lines across the brow. Like me, he wears bangles at the ankles, his ears shaped like India. We buy honey-soaked treats. The night is enough. We travel flights of stairs with sticky hands outstretched, and in his room we wait for the morning rise, the washerwoman, a surge of electricity that will come back any minute. Route to illusion. Quan, Fo, San, Mei, Ha, Ching. A Buddhist sutra includes a tale about the Buddha's penis. Otherwise, I wouldn't write about it. In Prince Sid's palace, ladies in waiting for what we cannot know stood around asking, "What's tea?" in the black drag culture sense. To them, it seemed the prince didn't have much of a package, and eventually they asked his consort what he had between his royal legs. When he heard this, his royal ears pricked up, and he promptly dropped trow and showed them what? What appeared to glow with golden light. We all know he sat under a Bodhi tree. This is not about his transformation. Once enlightened, the Buddha showed his glowing penis to prostitutes and wrapped it around a mountain, making Buddhas of all who bore witness. That's a long way around a mountain, but a much easier route to Buddhahood. Sonnet of Sorts. Horrible! I found a praying mantis in the bathroom. The insect that reminds me of a particular ex who reminded me of the saddest violin. Before the clouds choking us all, before the rain fell in sloppy splots, I tried my best to catch the mantis with the plastic bag. Some things you want to release. Right after a dog walk, the rain started, so humid I couldn't eat. Some days it is enough to feed the dog, to unchoke. The mantis was missing one long worshipful arm. What is a one-handed prayer? An uneven rain. What even is I love you, but only in motion? The mantis motioned to me to stop chasing him. I told him, I won't hurt you. I will put you outside, where it is bigger, greener. He wanted to know why I thought I knew where he belonged, why I couldn't just recognize he was a sign of wisdom and luck, patience and perseverance, and let him be. Why I had to stop and research, do praying mantises bite when I know very well everything bites? A flash flood warning flashed on my phone. Turn around, don't drown when encountering flooded roads. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles. Now, glad I didn't put the stick green insect outside. I still try to trap him in a poem, but really, I think about him all night long and dry as kindling. So, does anyone know what Bukowski said about finishing a poem, what he likened it to? Ir al baño. Make number 2, be euphemistic about it. Do you really need to know this? No, but I'm gonna start with a little bit of Bukowski. I get what Bukowski is saying, but finishing a poem is stepping into a cathedral in a country where your ancestors drank foot-stomped wine and prayed to leave. When my cousin died, Sagrado Corazon wouldn't host his funeral. The last thing that went through his mind was a bullet. Cioran said writing about philosophy in another language was writing a love letter with a dictionary. I looked up the word lesbian before I'd ever written a love letter. I didn't quite get it, and philosophy didn't help. My cousin's was the first dead body I touched. I got the story in bits in Spanish and pieces in English. His wife had cheated con una mujer, and he shot himself con su hijo a su lado en la cama. Why did everyone whisper suicide and lesbiana as if saying syphilis? Was it the cheating or the lesbianism that led to his out? In India, I carried around 2 English dictionaries. Neither had good translations for moksha or samsara. Had I known them at the time, I would have wished my cousin escaped from one and attainment of the other. Cheers or salud, what a difference a word makes. He was in uniform. His dark blue arm was stiff. I knew stiff had many different connotations. I wasn't sickened or fascinated, solo triste, confundida. What had he wanted? How would his son grow up with a lesbian? How would he learn what to want? Bukowski wrote, "There is light somewhere, years after my cousin died. Maybe he caught it on the way out. It is important for the gods to delight in you or for you to delight in you." Last payphone in Times Square. She came up to my eye. I asked to borrow a pen. People attend the removal of the last payphone in Times Square. I wrote her number in a notebook stained into lines. A power saw is used for the phone. Eulogies are said. First time I called set something in motion. No one finds panegyrics to public payphones unusual. In my space, we traded sketches. Hunger can be a project. No one carries coins in pockets. Coins are an insult. Strawberries rotted in the fridge. We woke each other up sometimes. The fate of the phone is unknown. Museums have the best storage. She gave me a piece of raw amber. Pine leather scents still intoxicate. The last call was cinematic. The end, as Hollywood calls it. Talking pictures. The desert is more of a listener, not the craven kind, more of a Socratic type. When Edward Abbey said the most spiritual thing about the desert is it doesn't give a shit, that's not what he meant. As any barber will tell you, there's more to the story, and stories are one of the few things that take the sting out of death. Try asking someone who fancies himself a philosopher why those homies were in Plato's cave in the first place. They'll tell you you're missing the point. But why'd they go into the fucking cave is as good a question as any, and better than, how many points is this worth? Refraining from lying is not the same as, oh, you already know this. But let me tell you, very few rumors in the desert. That's why it kicks you in the ass. It has all the access the way conquistadores had access to more than our philosophy, and I know to call it that retroactively lends a self-consciousness that wasn't there before. I'm also looking for a sustainable burial. To hell with forever. As Marty mentioned, double cross press just printed. It's actually a do-si-do. We are primary colors on one side and the Center for Hierarchical Manufacturing on the other. I have a few if anyone wants to purchase one. Yeah, it's like 2 for 1, right? I wanted to read something from it. I was thinking about today, Marguerite Yourcenar said something to the effect of, our works represent a time we've gone beyond by the time we write them. So I feel very much about this. These are a lot of pandemic poems, but this is Cemento y Adobe. Maybe it's easier to wait amid sage and blue grama, where you can watch a red ball of gas slowly slipping below the horizon. When you said the desert was dead, I took you to Las Tres Hermanas, animalitos darting among grasses and lichen growing scorched orange. Magma blazed through the earth's crust, but cooled into lava. I screamed, Te amo, and it echoed in a canyon. When we returned to the city that sleeps but never dries, we could reach out our bedroom window and touch the vines on the neighboring edifice. Regresaré, you promised. The tallest building in town sways 3 feet in either direction. People inside need water or wine rippling in cups to believe. Years of red line elbowing, meet first versus meet two parades. Years inside stale compartments, a hint of sun sliding down panes of glass. Wind erases traces of sand angels. It can deface the face of a sphinx. I tired of waiting until I was only tired of buildings blocking God. So back to OMD. Very few people know. Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, 80s band. It's wonderful. Besos.
Menopausal women, yes.
I wanted to end with these pieces. There's a series, they're called Architecture and Morality. It's after the 3rd studio album that OMD recorded the 6th of November, 1981. Yeah. Architecture and Morality, number 1. Dead now all summer, the architecture of the tree is unbearable. Everyone between borders has grown morally tired. Whoever wrote, "To be a flower is profound responsibility," must have known how tough it is to be a tree. While trying to remove an invasive plant with a root 2 fingers thick like a moderate whiskey pour, shadows of birds circle the garden. I think of spring in San Luis Obispo, Mama and I calling it San Luis Obis. It only works if you say Luis in Espanol. With Avila Beach smeared in the distance, we walked through wooded hills toward a rafter of wild turkeys, similar to the one that would surround me when we lived in Monte Vista and I was unafraid. As we got closer and they became vultures, Mama encouraged me to act alive. It's unbearable considering the things live people do. The tree did great. All the forest would be proud. It is covered in woodpecker xylem holes that resemble rat-a-tat-tat and remind me to look up who Coltrane was thinking of when he wrote My One and Only Love. I've always wanted to perform My One Love's only poem in English, the one who said if we amplified the frequency of a space, we could make it implode. The one whose face was like the tree outside a house I have lived in a long time. This one has three actually, footnotes. I'll try to incorporate them. Architecture Morality number 2. Wavering between feelings and places. 1. A structure of feeling. That's how meta-modernists describe a pendulum swinging between modernism and postmodernism, a finger wagging between seriousness and playfulness. Wavering between feelings and places, structures in their own right, is crucial when to go means take what you can carry, poetry in another language, a government with a history of hating you, hating history. To stay, of course, is to sell sticky chiclets on the street and nearly expired drinks, which means making ice in all your pots and pans, dodging traffic and collecting glass, metal, nearly expired food across the raging city. It means not having toothpaste, at times tying broken shoelaces together, at times wavering whether or not to go buy laces or paste because no one has forgotten who your father was. Of course, you've no $1 million to invest in another country, no chance to win the green card lottery, no blue eyes or yellow hair expected by Los Azteca on a man risen from death who showed up riding a horse. 2. Meta-modernists claim this era of performatism integrates previous and pre-modern sensibilities, which means indigenous and traditional cultural codes. No, for you, the lines are long, the arrows drawn, you're the call of the wild, the long-lost child, coming or going. Home has mythical implications for you beyond wood, metal, glass, stone. It is feather, bone, black butterfly, a piece of obsidian, no buttresses to oblivion. It is lying along horizon, the earth's contours, the opposite of owning rivers and stars. It is sharing space, multiple names for place, the purpose of a temple, feng shui of planets, alignment with the 4 winds in 4 directions, making a road around a meta mountain, a metaphor out of a chore. Less might have been more before it was a bore, or the page they tore, out about the mother. Which ideologies? Less self and more other? 3. We're told it's okay to be sensitive again, but it's sensitive to not be okay. How long did you wait after 9/11 to laugh? Thank God 2020's hindsight living it was a bitch. In China, a warning, too much yin will kill ya. Who's your paper boy? Are tats normcore? What comes next? Keep it coming. Take the night off from knowing what you know. Looking at a building won't change your life, but living in one will. Dos más, they're short. Architecture morality number 3. C was the last major course Chopin taught his students. Not to flag Professor Cedrone, in 1991, everyone started with C. Though I've never had it, I know I'm addicted to laudanum. I have what is known as motive and a predilection for the color purple. In scales with black keys, the middle finger makes a bridge for the thumb to pass under. C major consists of all white keys. There's still debate about how to approach it. Plug in an instrument made of wood. Music needs no tuck pointing. Chopin had longevity, even if he died at 39 coughing bloody roses into handkerchiefs. What C has going for it is that it's easiest to read. And architecture morality number 4 for Professor Frank Cedrone. It is the electronic age, same as it was in the 40s. I heard Robot Pop a decade after it debuted, and it sounded fresh to me. Someone I met by chance reminded me of everything. I remember the small blue hardback books that claimed pioneers settled the borderlands. Sometimes you're born with perfect pitch. Sometimes you need to pass a test. My piano teacher said if I mastered the masters, I could play electronica with my elbow. He taught me what his teacher taught him about competing. Place a stone in your left shoe. The brain will be too occupied with left, right, hand, sustain, pedal, and pedal to focus on nervousness. It's good to be behind the altar instead of atop it, to feel stones in shoes instead of around the neck. There are still instruments that need breath, still time to meet someone else.
Couple quick things. Marcy will be in the back to sell books. If you are interested in purchasing them, please see that. Also, feel free to approach either feature and tell them all about their genius. Poets need more fans, okay? I once sent drinks to Sharon Olds across a bar because poets need more fans. Some of you will think that's funnier than others. Okay, there is drinks still for sale in the back. Please go back, hang out, move past your introversion if you're me, make new poetry friends. Make sure to sign up for the mailing list if you're not already on it. Hope to see you next month and also in December. Big thanks to our Chicago Poetry Center staff, our Lit Life intern, February Speichner, and our super volunteer Chris behind the bar, and of course, to our incredible ASL interpreter, Annie, who's been with us here and doing it. It's not easy. I know it's not easy.